Hello and welcome to the couch. Today we are doing our free agency episode. Post free agency pretty much to get the new league year here. And we're going to be grading every team on their free agency moves. But first, before we get into that, how are you doing, my co-host Ewan?
Pretty good, pretty good. We just got back from spring break yesterday. Well, we're still on spring break. We got back from our trip yesterday.
Yeah.
That was a nice little. What was that 5 days off? Nice little
Yeah.
four full days to relax.
Yeah.
Shout out Campton, Kentucky, for the
For
one person in the United States that knows where that is. Very nice, very beautiful area.
yeah.
Very Hicktown, USA.
But nice for sure.
Nice.
But like we were just talking about, we're going to be doing our free agency grades today. We're starting off with the AFC East. I got the Buffalo Bills, and then he's going to go after. And then we're just going to go back and forth, giving all our grades for it. But first up, we got the Buffalo Bills. Just to go ahead and jump right into it. I like what they did overall. I'm going to give them a C+, because I like the DJ Moore trade. I like bringing back Connor McGovern and Dawson Knox, but I think they overpaid Bradley Chubb a little bit. And I think that they could have done more to bring in guys to this defense who really kind of held them back all year last year. But despite some, highlight plays like in week 1, forcing that fumble and letting them win that game, they were very up and down throughout the year. And this Bills team is, while they need a star wide receiver like DJ Moore, they also need some guys to come into this defense and really, change the game. I'm going to go ahead and give them a B+, C+, and then you can go ahead and move on to the Dolphins.
All right, Dolphins. I think I'm going to give the Dolphins a C- here this offseason. So far, again, this is just kind of the start of the first week. But the only move they made that I really liked was signing Malik Willis. They need a potential starter caliber quarterback. Malik Willis showed really great flashes towards the end of the year when they had to sub him in for Jordan Love while he was hurt. I was, and we talked about this before. I was a little confused by the 3-year deal. And like we'd mentioned before, maybe a bidding war got in hand. But maybe they want a long-term commitment. He signed a 3-year deal. I like that move by them. Everything else, I'm kind of just unimpressed by. They signed Ben Sims, who's just going to be a depth guy, tight end. Josh Uche, not really. I mean, they need help on the D-line. He'll be a nice rotational guy, I guess.
Nobody that moves the needle, right?
Yeah, nobody. I'm not seeing anybody on here that I'm like, oh, this is going to get him another 1 or 2 wins every year. It's just kind of a meh. So I'm giving him a C-.
And, I mean, you can't really do much with how much money they ended up taking on with Tua.
Yeah.
And I do think that getting Malik Willis into a pretty good offensive line, they have some weapons already there. And the defense was pretty great the second half of the season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think you get a defensive-minded head coach. You come in here, you make a few moves in free agency, and while it doesn't cause a lot, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's pretty solid. But obviously, the dream could be maybe getting a guy like Kyler Murray, who comes in and is a little bit cheaper than Malik Willis.
Yeah.
And then getting
has the veteran upside.
Yeah, and maybe going out and getting, David Njoku or,
Oh my God, I forgot he's a free agent.
Yeah, and maybe just bolstering the defense just a little bit more.
Yeah, I will say they signed Willie Gay, and in a Madden franchise I did recently, he turned out to be like a superstar. So,
Wow. So that's going to happen.
That's going to happen in real life.
Happen.
But I guess really that would have only happened if the Bears signed him. So, sorry, Dolphins. Yeah. He's going to suck.
So they might as well do that, right?
Yeah, might as well, yeah.
The New England Patriots up next. I like this a lot. I'm going to give it a B+. Elijah Vera Tucker, I like this move a lot. He's real solid. He was one of the best offensive linemen in free agency. And if he can stay healthy, it's going to be really great for them. They're going to be able to, move the offensive line around. I think they'll keep Will Campbell where he is. But I do think that overall this is a great free agency because of Romeo Doubs. I like this signing a lot. I heard a lot of reports about them wanting to give Alec Pierce $30 million. I think that was a bit of an overpay. if they were to do that. And I think that they got a great contract with Romeo Dobbs here because he's really great. I think that he would probably be the wide receiver on the Packers if Christian Watson, isn't on and off all the time.
Yeah.
Because when he comes back, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But Romeo Dobbs is easily one of the best receivers on that Packers team. Now hitting free agency and able to do a lot for this Patriots offense that really didn't have a next wide receiver last year. Jermont Jones and Kevin Byard, I think, were pretty great. Kevin Byard getting a cheap deal with a guy that led the league in interceptions last year. It's just that's nice. And Jermont Jones is solid. He's been good on the Ravens last year. It's just solid. You're bolstering this defense that's kind of built off veterans in the first place. They did lose a few guys, but I do overall like what they have here during this offseason.
I was very disappointed that the Bears didn't fire back. I mean, they could have fired back with an offer to Kevin Byard that was a little bit more, but it did kind of seem like he wanted to work with Vrabel again.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the a Bears beat reporter was on the phone with him and was saying that he was talking about wanting to work with Vrabel again. So I think that played, but I was sad to see Byard go. But yeah.
All right, you got the Jets.
All right, so the Jets made some moves that I really liked. They made some moves that, again, meh. So I'll probably give them like a B- for this offseason so far. They apparently they traded for Geno Smith. I thought they had just signed him, but they traded for him in like a pick swap. They tagged Breece Hall, which I guess I like. I don't know. If I'm a Jets fan, I'm probably going to want him. I wish they got him on a long-term deal instead of a franchise tag. I think some of the more notable moves they made, they signed Kingsley Enagbare, who former Packer. Bears. I've seen enough tape of him when the Bears have played against him. I feel like he's a solid guy to have on a 1-year deal for $10 million. I don't hate that move. I think the best move they made this offseason by far was trading for T'Vondre Sweat.
Interesting.
I think T'Vondre Sweat is really, really good, and I think he's been overshadowed by Jeffrey Simmons on the Titans. And I think I've liked him since that draft year. That was 3 years ago. I think they drafted him, and I think getting him for Jermaine Johnson, who's, I mean, in my opinion, like just kind of a an upper mid tier guy. I think and it is also very clear they're making way for Arvell Reese. I think because he's probably going to be the number 2 pick. I liked the Demario Davis deal. He's old, but he is still like playing football out of his mind. And I like a little 2-year deal for him. So I think those were kind of the 2 big moves that I really like, that T'Vondre trade and the Demario Davis trade. They signed Sean Wright to a 1-year deal, way less than I thought he'd go for.
Yeah.
I think the market projection had him like 10 to 15 mil. They got him for a year for 5.5. Again, as a Bears fan, he's a ball hawk, but boy, does he get blown up in coverage. But for a team that hasn't recorded an interception for the first time since interceptions were a recorded stat, getting a ball hawk and Minka Fitzpatrick, I think I some good moves, but some that are just meh. So
yeah, and I think the only question that comes with this kind of free agency for the New York Jets is, what do they think their timeline is? I think it speaks a lot to what Aaron Glenn feels like going into the season, because you trade for a quarterback who's older. You're probably not going to draft one.
No.
And you're keeping Breece Hall around, who could have left in free agency, but you're keeping him around to stay there. Like, and then you signed all these old guys, Minka, Demario Davis. It's like, okay, it just seems like they're very like, we can make the playoffs and we can keep our job.
Yeah.
And that kind of seems like it. And while I don't hate it, I think that it might do enough to keep Aaron Glenn his job as the head coach.
Yeah.
But
do they have 3 first-round picks this year?
2.
3 this year, or is it 2 this year, 3 next year?
I don't know what it is next year, but I think there are it's a lot of 1-year deals.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think from some of these moves that they're making, it kind of seems like they're trying to recreate that defense from a couple years ago.
yeah.
'Cause a couple years ago, that Jets defense was you did not want because that was like Michael Carter, Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams. They had some other good guys on that D line.
It just seems like they're very win now, let's go. And this seems like a team that wants to change it all in 1 year, which is rightfully so. I mean, the number
Oh
2
yeah,
pick, let's change it.
yeah.
But yeah, I agree that it's not maybe the best course of action, but it does make the team better.
Yes, yes.
I agree with the B minus. That's what she said, right?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
All right, moving on to AFC North, the Ravens. This is going to be a longer one because
Mhm.
they re-signed Snoop Huntley, blah 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 blah. They get uh other than that, they didn't really sign anyone. That was John Simpson, keeping him back there.
Mhm.
Um, but the whole thing with Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby, I do think that you trade for Max Crosby, and while it is a verbal agreement, you don't have to be like, oh, he's hurt. Let's take it. And
Hold on, I'm gonna interrupt you real quick.
what?
Your combine guy, Caleb Branks, broke his foot at the combine.
Really?
Mm-hmm. According to tweet from Dane Brugler that my buddies just sent to our group chat. So
Yeah, I just saw that.
yeah,
They'll sign him until June. That doesn't matter.
no.
That doesn't matter.
It'll affect his draft position though.
I don't think it will.
I think it will.
June? Bruh, they ain't even meeting in June. I don't know. Well, actually, maybe they are meeting in June.
I don't know. Anyways,
No,
back to
it's
the
more just
Ravens.
like July. Anyways, the Ravens, I don't think they had a moral obligation to stay in the deal when Max Crosby fails his physical, but I do think it's very sneaky and very questionable that as soon as they did it, they're already in talks with Trey Nickerson. They're and that they waited until that exact moment to do it. There's no way his physical results came in at fucking 6 p.m. when the notification dropped. Like that's just not what happened.
Yeah.
And I think that they did that, got to Trey Hendrickson early, and were able to go ahead. And I think that I don't think it was ethical. But it was smart. It was smart in no matter what. And they come out and say, "Oh well, we're sad too. It didn't go through." No, you're not. You keep your first round picks and you get Trey Hendrickson. They're like, the original plan was to get Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby. How in the world were you gonna do that?
Yeah, I saw something about that actually.
Yeah.
I think so. You had sent me the Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson thing, I think.
Yeah.
But then what my buddy sent me, the same guys who just sent me this Caleb Banks thing, what they sent me the other last night, was that allegedly the Ravens were going to rework Max Crosby's deal because he's not. I don't think he's not paid as a top 5 DN in the league.
I think he's making like 35
Yeah.
a year.
But they were going to rework his deal and give him an extension that would have made him like quite a bit higher paid.
Mhm.
And Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby, it just would not have worked.
Yeah,
Like, financially, it's just like it was just like a shitty excuse to back out. Like the whole like we wanted to do Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby. No, you fucking didn't.
because if that's what you wanted to do, you would have had Trey Henderson beforehand.
Yeah.
Like you would have just had him because he was making less than Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Right,
What's his
it-
deal is like
4-year, $112 million
Was that
with a max value of 120.
27 mil or 26 mil?
It's
28 mil.
20 maximum of 28 a year.
Yeah.
It's like he's getting paid the same as Jalen Phillips. It's like there is no way that was the maximum. Like you could have done that. You could have done that
Oh, yeah.
earlier, and
Easily.
I think that there is a little shady stuff going around, but I can't blame him because it's smart. And
It's just a
so
shitty thing to do.
for the Ravens, I would like to have seen them get a wide receiver, and they haven't yet. And I just don't really see this wide receiver core helping Lamar win anything. And they don't even make the playoffs last year, obviously because of the injury to Lamar, but also because the defense was butt. They didn't really do anything besides get Trey Anderson. Which there's only so much you can do. I think that will change it a lot, but overall, I'm gonna give it a B. I think getting Trey Henderson is really good, but you don't really get a wide receiver. You lose your center in Tyler Linderbaum, and
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. They lost Linderbaum.
yeah, they lost a lot of guys. Likely they lost both their tight ends. They got Durham Smythe, to be their backup.
Oh,
Okay. And you don't really get a wide receiver. It's like I don't really enjoy that. I don't think that that's the best they could have done.
no.
And I think that if they would have gotten Crosby and then made some moves, I think
Yeah.
I would have graded it higher because I think that Crosby is better than Hendrickson.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, but why don't you go ahead and take it on to the Bengals?
Um, I'd give them like a C plus here this offseason. Again, I feel like fairly average offseason. They made some good moves. They re-signed Orlando Brown earlier today. They signed Dalton Reisner. They re-signed Dalton Reisner. Boy Mafe, who solid edge. He's definitely, he's nobody to snuff at. They signed Jonathan Allen earlier as well. I like that signing. They signed more defensive guys than offensive guys,
Mm-hmm.
which I liked because their defense was so dog shit this past year. I mean, it's just like you invest a first round pick in Shamar Stewart, dog shit, and then Trey Hendrickson goes out like halfway through the year,
Yeah.
and you have no pressure, and you have no corners, and you have no linebacker. Like they needed defenses where they're going to go in the offseason and in the draft.
They were highly targeted. I mean, they literally went off straight offensive line and then just defensive players.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I like the Brian Cook signing especially.
Yeah, I do like the Brian Cook signing.
I thought that was really nice. I think he was really solid in the Chiefs, and it brings a lot of talent to this Bengals defense. Like you said, the Jonathan Allen and Boye Mafe, I like those a lot. And then extending Orlando Brown is great.
Please, for the love of God, get Joe Burrow an offensive line. But yeah, I just give them like a C plus, maybe a B minus, depending on what the rest of stuff they do. They are pretty limited in what they can do cap wise because, I mean, they're paying Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase like
$3 trillion
more money than God for the next 5 years or whatever. But yeah, like a C plus, B minus, kind of on the verge there.
Yeah,
not average, but not great.
All right, moving on to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, I like this a lot. Honestly, I liked getting Quincy Williams. They beef up the offensive line. I like Jack Stoll actually. I thought that was pretty good. And once you're losing David Njoku, you still get another solid tight end, and you get Harold Fannin to be that number one for real. Didn't have a lot of cap space to do it with, but you get an offensive line.
Yep.
You get an offensive line. I think that they actually made it a little bit better than it was last year. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give them a C. Actually, I'm gonna I'll give them a C just because there's only so much they could do, and I think this easily could have been an F. But I think they just were like, okay, hey, let's go make sure we have guys that can actually play on this team, and that the bar is so low for the Browns for this one.
Yeah,
let's just make sure that we have guys that can play on the offensive line.
Yep.
What about the Steelers?
I'll give him like. Actually, I'll give him B. I like so far. I like the Rico Dowdle signing. Granted, if he can play as well as he did last year, Michael Pittman. I think that was one of the better moves so far. I mean, it's not the best move, but one of the better moves this offseason. You get a very solid receiver for a 6th-round pick, right? Effectively. And then extend him. I like that move for them, especially because I feel like the passing attack was a little bit lackluster last year. Jack Driscoll, Cam Hayward, they extended Cam Hayward. Just hang it up, man. You're old, dude. You're playing very
so
well.
good.
He is
He's
really,
so
really
good.
good. But like he is getting. How old is Cam Hayward? Good Lord, he's 36. Oh my God. He'll be 38 at the end of this next contract. Oh my God.
Hey, bro, Calais Campbell's still out here playing.
Yeah, he's like 40, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Jamel Dean. I really like the Jamel Dean signing.
Yeah.
He's a very, very good corner. And to only get him for like $13 million a year, or $13.25 million a year, I like that. Asante Samuel, Darnell Savage. I'd give this a B. B off season. Some pretty solid moves.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I think you look at the weapons now, and you're like, okay, wow, the Steelers actually have some good weapons, and their defense was already pretty solid.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Position wise. Moving to the AFC South, I really, really like what the Texans did. I'm gonna give them an A minus. I think you bring in a couple of these guys. You get Reed Blankenship, who I don't think is as bad as some people think. I think he's actually pretty solid. You extend Danielle Hunter, you get him there a year, and then you really go off on this offensive line. You re-sign Trent Brown, you get Braden Smith, who on a really, really good deal.
Oh yeah.
You keep Ed Ingram. And then you cut Joe Mixon in Christmas space and get David Montgomery. I mean, come on now. I think that was great, and I think they're gonna have to do some more work on the offensive line, but overall the weapons are still there. The defense is still gonna be great. I really like what they did. I'm gonna give it an A minus. What about you for the Colts? I think we might differ a bit here.
Colts. I think the yeah, I'd give them like a C minus maybe.
Okay.
I think the big thing here is that Alec Pierce deal. Again, basically like 30 mil a year, basically, for a guy who's effectively just a deep ball threat and has not done enough to earn 30 mil a year. That is my opinion on Alec Pierce.
I just think that was the asking price, and I think like he turned down higher offers to take this one.
Yeah.
And I think the Colts just had to get in range, and they could only do so much because they also had to keep Daniel Jones. But I think you look at it, and they keep probably their two most important free agents. I think you could argue Braden Smith, but they keep their two most important free agents. And they do lose some other guys, but
Yeah, I mean the Daniel Jones signing, that's fine to me. They pay 44 a year. I think he was asking 50. Oh well, can it be up worth up 250? Again, yeah, the two big moves were Daniel Jones, Alec Pierce. I don't like the Alec Pierce contract. I don't know. Michael Clemens, Arden Key, fine, I guess. Colby Wooden, fine, I guess. But yeah, I think like a C minus. I'm giving him this offseason so far.
okay. The Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars lost a lot. Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne. I think that overall, I would give them a B, because they kept Monteric Brown there. I like that a lot. They weren't going to be able to resign all these guys, and I think that they were just kind of set up in a position with some of these younger guys that were going to be around. I think Bashal Tutin taking over the running back spot. You know how much of a fan of Bashal Tutin I am. He's going to do great there. He's got better and better as the year went on. And, losing Etienne, that's fine because they have somebody that's going to be there. They get Chris Rodriguez, who's going to be more of that pass-catching back, who had a great year at Washington last year. And I think overall, it's fine. They re-signed the guys they could, and then they went out and got, like, Chris Rodriguez, and that was pretty much it. And I think that's enough to give it a B for me and just say, hey, look, the team's in a good space. We're not going to do anything too aggressive. Maybe let's look at some trade candidates instead. We don't really need to look in free agency as much as some of these other teams do. And they're coming off a great season. I mean, they might as well just stick it and run it back with mostly the same guys, and maybe hopefully they can replace Devin Lloyd in the draft.
Yeah. What'd you give them?
I gave them a B.
Okay, yeah. I think with the Titans here, I think I'll probably give them a B as well. I like maybe a B plus actually. I like a lot more of the moves they made than I dislike. The big one that I kind of dislike is the Sweat Jermaine Johnson trade. Again, they were on the opposite end of that trade we talked about earlier. Jermaine Johnson, solid guy. I would not have traded Tavondre Sweat for him though. Although they do need help on the D end position. You got Jeffrey Simmons up the middle, so that's pretty good.
Well, You kind of said the thing like they're trying to the Jets are trying to rebuild this defense. The Titans are literally trying to rebuild the Jets defense that with Robert Saleh. I mean, they're literally just bringing back everybody. John Franklin Myers, Solomon Thomas,
Yeah.
and Jermaine Johnson, all guys that were there with him
Yeah.
on the Jets. And
Yeah.
and also, getting Wandale and getting some of these guys.
The Wandale signing. I like the Alante Taylor signing. I think he's good. He's good. I mean, yeah, they basically went like damn near all defense, besides like Wandale and some resign and some like offensive line resignings. Pretty much all defense on this off season. So I mean I give it like a B plus. No like crazy moves.
Yeah.
I think the Wandale signing was the biggest thing they did, but
I just think that it's kind of funny they were just kind of bringing back Robert Saleh was like, I want my guys, and Brian Daboll was like, I want my guys, and it was like, guys, these guys got you fired.
Yeah.
But I do think that they did a pretty good job because of what they have around, and I think a B plus is a pretty solid grade for them. The Broncos, I am really, really not happy with what they did. They were kind of in the market for a running back. That was what you were hearing.
They re-signed.
They re-signed J.K. And what else did they do? They literally didn't sign anybody else besides re-signing guys. They just signed back their old guys.
Lil Jordan Humphrey, bro.
He's gonna be a dog.
Oh my god, bro, he's gonna be so good. I can't wait for the future Lil Jordan Humphrey edits.
But it just you miss out on Kenneth Walker. You don't I just feel like they should have done anything. I'm gonna give them a D. I really don't like what they did. They didn't. The teams that stand still in free agency are the teams normally that I feel like fall behind and are not as good next year. You're gonna need to bring in some of these guys, and hopefully they can bring in some new juice throughout the draft.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I like some of the guys they retained for sure. Like I like Alex Singleton. I like J.K. Dobbins, but yeah, I mean, after coming off a season that they probably would have made the playoffs if Bo Nix hadn't been hurt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they
what did I say? Playoffs, Super Bowl.
Yeah, they made Super Bowl.
Yeah, they would have made the Super Bowl had Bo Nix not been hurt.
They had the best passing attack in the league, pretty much.
God, that defense.
And their defense was insane. And you say, okay, yeah, wow, they were so good. They don't really need to get anyone else. It's like all these teams are getting better. You're going to have to match that pace. And I really don't. I think that even if they just had one guy to catch up with pace, but they lose a decent amount on that defense. John Franklin Myers, they released Dre Greenlaw to free up some space. Haven't used it for anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What'd you give them?
I gave them a D. I really don't like what was going on there.
Yeah. I agree with that. The Chiefs, I'll give a C plus. I really like the Kenneth Walker signing.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks that I have to fucking hate him now because he's on the Chiefs. Because I do really like Kenneth Walker. Re-sign Travis Kelce again, man. Just hang it up, dog.
I don't know. He's got some gas left. He's got some gas left. He's not the same guy, but
Yeah.
I think they missed out on. I think there's still a lot of wide receivers out there. I'm still expecting a wide receiver signing from them.
Yes.
But we just gotta wait for the market to cool down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Khalees Tonga, former Bear, signing, $7 million a year, solid depth guy. I like it. But yeah, nothing crazy. C plus.
Yeah. For the Raiders now, I'm gonna give this an A plus. I think they might have had the best free agency. Overpaid Jalen Naylor just a little bit, but I think that's what you're going to have to do to get some of these guys early. Tyler Linderbaum, they definitely overpaid, but I mean, who cares?
$27 million for a center. Holy shit.
They get Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean. Amazing.
Yeah.
Malcolm
Yeah.
Knuch, they re-sign. I like him. Kwity Paye, that's another guy that's like, wow, okay, that's gonna be really solid. And now they're gonna be keeping Max Crosby, and you're like, okay, this defense has turned around completely.
And they're getting Mendoza.
And they're gonna be taking Mendoza. I mean, they got two corners. They got Eric Stokes. They re-signed, and Taron Johnson. They got from the Bills, who I thought was gonna be pretty solid. And
Yeah.
you go out and get a few pieces for the offense, but really, what else do you need in the offense? I mean, maybe you could get another wide receiver,
Yeah.
but Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, A+ for them for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Chargers, we got
Chargers. I think I'll give them a B-. I think they they signed a bunch of guys on the O-line, a lot of re-signings, 2 re-signings and free agency signings. Signed Tyler Biotish. I like that. 10 mil a year. Cole Strange, solid. Trevor Penning, they retained Trevor Penning and Trey Pipkins. Keaton Mitchell, solid signing, I feel like. Another good kind of pass catching back. Charlie Kolar, solid. They retained Khalil Mack, unfortunately. I really wanted us to sign him. But for $18 million, go ahead and take that, Chargers. But yeah, I'd say I give them like a B-. I think they made some really solid moves. Can Justin Herbert capitalize on them? We shall see.
I think that they built a really nice thing of Mike McDaniel bringing in some guys. He brought in Alec Ingold, which I like.
Mhm.
He got these more. He got Charlie Kolar. He's great for his blocking. You saw a lot of that on the Ravens. I think you're going to see a very interesting offense.
Yeah.
With Mike McDaniel here, and Keaton Mitchell is going to be, Devon Achane. It would be my first round pick in fantasy this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna be so great. But Keaton Mitchell is gonna be a guy that I'm gonna want to handcuff or draft late, because if he gets a hold of the starting job, he's gonna be spectacular. Next we got the Cowboys. I overall like this, bringing back Javonte, bringing back Pickens on the franchise tag. Hopefully they're gonna get a longer term deal. I didn't really enjoy the Rashawn Gary trade. I thought, you give up a 4th round pick next year, so it's like you essentially for nothing.
Yeah.
But you also it just seemed like, I don't know, like why?
Rashawn Gary's
Why
pretty
even
solid.
do that? Not really. He's just not. He's okay, but
having played against him twice a year for the last, since they drafted him, he's better. I will give him this. He's better than his stats lead on, but he is not the best.
But I think that their linebackers maybe were the worst in football last year, and they didn't do anything about that. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm going to give them a D as well. I think keeping George Pickens, Javonte, and the Williams on the roster is the only thing keeping it from being an F, because other than that, they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I like Jalen Thompson. No, I like Jalen Thompson getting a safety back there, but other than that, it's like they really just didn't do anything. They really made a strong push for Nakobe Dean, but thank you, Nakobe Dean, for not going there. I appreciate that. But I'm gonna have to go D, because I really think they just needed to get a linebacker, and they still have not.
They kind of franchise tag Brandon Aubrey. I don't really understand that. A 2nd round restricted free agent tender. What's the difference between this and a transition
Other teams
tag?
can sign him to an offer sheet, but Dallas will have the right to match it.
Isn't that the same as a
Transition tag.
transition tag?
I think it's similar.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know the specifics. Oh man, my trade just got rejected in a dynasty league.
Oh.
All right. What about the Giants for you?
I'll give the Giants another B-. Big B- guy today. Actually, no, I'll keep it a B- because they re-signed Evan Neal for whatever reason. They got some depth guys at receiver, Isaiah Hodgins. They got a lot of guys. They got a couple guys back from the Raiders following John Harbaugh. Ricard likely. They got some linebackers, signed Tremaine Edmonds, Mike McFadden, or re-signed Mike McFadden. I like the Greg Newsome 1-year deal. The secondary was left a lot to be desired last year. I wish they would have built a little bit more. Well, I guess they didn't, or I guess they did really. I wish they would have gone after some higher profile targets in free agency for me.
Like who?
A better O lineman, like I can't think of like the big names this year besides Linderbaum really, but like, or maybe like a Braden Smith.
The guy from the Packers as well.
Oh yeah, Elgton Jenkins.
No. They released him, but the Rasheed Walker.
Oh, Rasheed Walker. Yeah. Yeah. I just I like some of the guys in their offense they have now. I think Jackson Dart has a lot of potential. Cam Scattaboo, a lot of potential. Malik Neighbors good, but a quarterback I feel like is really only as good as their O line, and if you don't build a really good O line, they're not going to have the opportunities. So I'd give them like a B minus. I do like some of the moves. They address the defense fairly well so far, but there's more to be desired.
Okay.
Oh, I'm real excited to see the Eagles next by you.
Bro, okay, so the Eagles, they really don't do anything. They re-signed Grant Calcaterra. They signed Johnny Munt, extend Jordan Davis. I liked extending Jordan Davis because it actually gave us cap room.
Did it?
And I kind of didn't realize. I went back and looked at his season, and he actually was way better this season than you thought. And him and Jalen Carter could be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Johnny Munt. He's actually a really good blocking tight end, and I think that's something we've really needed. Grant Calcaterra is kind of one of those guys that his blocking leaves something to desire, but he's really great in the pass game.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fine bringing him back. And then Tariq Woolen was the big signing, obviously, and I love that. I think they have the best cornerback room in the league. I can't give it an A because I wanted to see them more active. We lost a lot of guys. Reed Blankenship, Dallas Goedert, who might sign back with us, might not. We don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
But Josh Uche, N'Kobe Dean, obviously. There was some kind of things that I was hoping we would be able to move some money around and sign some other guys. Missed out on Trey Henderson, missed out on Max Crosby. It didn't really get an edge rusher, and I think that's kind of the main thing we need so far. So, yeah, I losing Jalen Phillips, it was tough too. So I would like to see him get edge rushers. I'm gonna give them a B. I think with some of these teams, you just can't do anything. You just don't have any money, or maybe guys, you don't have that much room to work with. So I'm gonna give it a B. I don't hate what they did. It was gonna be an F until they signed Tariq Woolen, but that deal simply brought it to a B because it's good enough and he'll get it done.
The only reason I don't like the Tariq Woolen deal is because it's only 1 year. I don't really understand that. I think we were talking about that the other night. He's a young corner who's solid. He's better than solid. He's a good corner.
There are ups and downs. He's very, to put it in Bears term, he's Nashawn Wright-ish. Like he's like
kind of gets just covered sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you just get smoked, and he's got great ball skills, but he's going to be in that corner 2 spot, and I think he's going to go great across Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah.
And I think some other teams maybe didn't want to give him $15 million a year, and the Eagles were willing to just give him the rest of our cap space essentially.
Yeah.
The Commanders. Why don't you go ahead and take that one?
I think this is the most mid-off season. I think this is the most smokescreen, glass mirror, smoke and mirrors off season that I've seen so far. They signed a lot of guys, and they signed a lot of meh, in my opinion. Like I'll just go through the list. I mean, Marcus Mariota is just a re-signing for depth. Rashad White, meh. Treylon Burks, meh. Chika Okonkwo, meh. Laramie Tunsil, $30 million a year for Laramie Tunsil after the last couple of years. Bad. Nick Allegretti. Sure, I guess. Trent Scott, Andrew Wyatt. They just re-signed a lot of their guys. Signed 4 edges. Clavon Chazon. Cool. Solid guy. He'll maybe get you 5 sacks. Charles Menahue. Okay. Adafe Owe. Solid. 25 mil a year, though? No, not worth it. Dietrich Wise, I guess. Tim Settle. Don't know who the fuck that is. Why are you paying him $8 million a year? Amik Robertson. I guess I kind of like that. Leo Chenal. Leo Chenal was my favorite signing by them this offseason. Young linebacker. Pretty good on the Chiefs. You're only getting him for like $8 million a year. That was the only signing that they did that I liked. Everyone else, perfectly mid.
Yeah.
This was a very much they went into the offseason and I feel like they were like, how many just mid-tier guys can we get this offseason? Because that's all they did. They just signed, they dumped all of their cap space for the year in a bunch of guys.
Yeah, but I think it's just because they missed out on so much. I follow Josh Palmer, one of the beat reporters for the Commanders on Twitter, and he every time there was something gearing up for a big signing, he'd be like, "Hey, Commanders fans, let's see if this is us," and then he'd be like, "It wasn't," and then it just seemed like they missed out on everything. They missed out on Trey Anderson, they missed out on Jalen Phillips, they missed out on Nakobe Dean, they missed out on just all these guys, and it just seemed like they were like, "Well, we got to put our money somewhere," and which I don't. Which I understand, but I don't hate this as much. I think Adafe Owe, maybe you pay him a little too much. Tunsil, I don't hate as much as you do. I think he was fine. And Amik Robertson, like I said, I like that one. I like Nick Cross. I like Leo Chanel. I like the Charles Omenihu. I don't hate the K'Lavon Chason one. I don't hate that. Tim Settle, I don't hate either. Like, I just don't hate.
I don't hate the Clavon Chason. It's just a very meh move. None of the moves they made, besides Leo Chenal, I sat up in my seat for. None of them. I was just kind of like.
And I think some of those are like the deals that end up paying out. Like you do, look how bad they were last year, and they get all these guys. Jay Daniels is gonna be healthy.
Yeah.
I think that they actually might have a chance to get back to where they were at some point.
I get what you're saying with the whole they need to put their money somewhere, but if you need to put your money somewhere, I would rather overbid on a guy like Trey Hendrickson and give him 30 or 35 mil a year rather than overpaying Adafe Owe and 85 other guys, right? Where you'll have one true difference maker versus a bunch of guys who maybe they'll do well. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah,
I think they just missed that. I think they just got the bad. I think they got the short stick, and ended up just kind of be like, oh my gosh, where do we put our money?
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, that's their fault, obviously, but
yeah,
I don't necessarily hate it because they just spent their money in a different way. I just wish they would have signed somebody else.
Yeah, I'll give it a C flat.
Okay.
I think they bought an NFT. I think they just invested in something that's not really going to do anything. That's my opinion. But.
Okay. Next we got the Bears. So I like what they did. I think re-signing Braxton Jones was good. I thought that was what they should do because of the injury to Ozzie Trapilo.
Mm-hmm.
Trading for Garrett Bradbury, I liked a lot after the retirement for their center.
That was crazy. By the way.
Devin Bush was a nice signing for them. I do think that just keep Tremaine Edmonds, but also they actually did save some money by getting Devin Bush, so I like that. Kobe Bryant was the best signing for me, though, for them. I think that's great. You're losing both of your safeties, and you're able to get a star one off the Super Bowl winning team. I think it was great, and so I'm going to give them an A, an A minus. I think that you'd like to see an edge rusher. You'd like to see a real edge rusher here, and that would make an A+. But overall, they improved this defense at pretty much every level. They do lose Nashawn Wright and Jaquan Brisker. Brisker hasn't signed anywhere yet, but he hasn't been back. They lose Byard. Maybe you'd like to see some more of an edge rusher somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Moving to the Detroit Lions, what do you think?
I give this like a D.
Okay.
They didn't do anything and they lost guys. Like they signed Larry Borum, who is garbage.
Yeah, this is bad. This is a bad one.
Yeah, I mean Isaiah Pacheco. I watched a video the other guy, a video of a guy the other day or earlier today actually, who was like, this was just like a jack shit signing. Like Isaiah Pacheco is one of these guys who's real flashy when he runs, but he's not doing a whole lot usually. And maybe behind the Lions O line, well, actually maybe not because they lost much guys.
Yeah.
Like you trade away Monty. I was happy with that trade. I would love to see him out of our division, and replace him with Pacheco, and do really nothing else. Yeah, you're getting a D, Lions.
I did like the Cade Mays signing, the center from the Panthers. I did like that, but other than that, it's real rough. It's real rough. Moving to the Packers, this for me is an F. I'll give it an F plus. Javon Hargrave, giving him a 2-year deal, he just hasn't looked the same.
Mm-mm.
I don't really understand going out and giving him like pretty much $11 million a year.
Yeah.
And then trading for Zaire Franklin. I mean, I think he's pretty good. But like again, not going to move the needle in any serious way. You lose Romeo Dobbs. You release, half your offensive lineman. You lose Rasheed Walker. It's like, I don't really see what they were doing realistically. I don't like it a whole lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I overall it's an F plus. I think it gets an F plus because I think there is some value with Hargrave and Franklin, but losing so many guys and then not really getting anything else, it's gonna be rough.
I can't wait to play against Benjamin St. Just twice a year.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that one either.
Oh my god, that made me so happy. Now the Vikings. Again, another D. Just like basically the same as the Lions. They didn't really sign anyone. They revised Aaron Jones' contract. And I mean they really just re-signed people, right? The only guy that they signed who I thought was like okay was James Pierre. But again, nothing else. Just re-signed guys, lost guys, cut guys. They cut Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, both of their D tackles. Cut Harrison Smith. I want to say there's another guy they cut. But yeah, like they lost Jalen Naylor. So I give it a D, another D.
Yeah, and I mean we're still waiting for the Kyler Murray news, right? Or Kirk Cousins.
I think they're highly targeting Kyler Murray.
But I mean right now I think I have to agree. Moving on to the Falcons. I actually like what the Falcons did. I think I don't. It's not A-worthy. I think you get Jahan Dotson and Zacchaeus, pretty solid. You get Tua. I really like that actually because you get him on a veterans minimum. A guy who he's looked great before. I mean, he's helped the team put up 70 points in a game.
Yep.
And it's just I don't hate getting him on a league minimum and kind of getting a really great backup quarterback that and releasing Kirk Cousins. I like that. I don't think they lost that many guys. Azeez Ojulari I liked. I don't know. I keeping Kyle Pitts, like it was just solid. I think they went out there and were like, hey, we were almost a playoff team last year. We're in a pretty weak division. Let's go and just kind of run it back and hopefully we get a little more lucky and build through the draft a little bit. And I think that's just what they're gonna have to do. So I actually really like it. I'm gonna give it a C plus.
Yeah, I think the Tua signing is a little bit underrated because they don't have to change the offense at all.
Yeah.
because both Tua and Penix are left-handed. So yeah, I'll agree with a C plus. I really like Panthers off season.
Yeah.
I think they addressed everything they wanted to address. I think the Devin Lloyd signing might be the signing of the offseason so far for me. Getting him for 15 mil a year after that season, oh man, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
That is a great deal, and they did not have linebackers last year. Um, I like the they signed Luke Fortner, Stone Forsyth, re-signed some receivers. Um, the Jalen Phillips one for me is the only one that really kind of lowers this for me because they're giving him $30 million a year
Yeah.
after. I mean, I think Jalen Phillips has a lot of upside.
Mm-hmm.
He's a young player. He was solid when he was playing. He showed really good flashes when he was healthy, but that's the problem. I have to say when he was healthy
Yeah.
because I mean he's been out for like half the year, like almost every season he's played.
And he's never had double-digit sacks.
No.
He does get a lot of pressures, and my friend who's a Panther fan kind of put it this way. He's like, we had 80 pressures or something last year. He had 60. And so it's like, yes, we're overpaying him in terms of the other guys that are on this list, but if he can stay healthy,
Yeah.
he's going to be the best free agent signing. And, he's going to be worth what we're paying him if we can just keep him healthy. And their defense is already rough. Like they need somebody to go out there, and he's going to get those opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Jalen Phillips one signing is the only thing that lowers their grade for me. I think they'd be a B plus if they had gotten Jalen Phillips for less. But I'll give him a B minus because I like a lot of the other moves they made.
Wow,
And-
that's one of my few A's. I think the
Oh, really?
Panthers. A minus for me. I the Kenny Pickett one just was like, what are we doing? Like why? It like everything else is like, oh wow, that's awesome. And then Kenny Pickett, you're like, why?
Yeah.
So that actually moves it down because you're just wasting $7.5 million. It's like, bro, you can buy me a private jet or something. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. Then the Saints. This division was so weird. I liked the ETN signing, but they still haven't gotten rid of Kamara. I liked the Caden Ellis signing.
Oh, yeah, they haven't come far, have they?
Noah Fant I liked is really good to get in as a tight end. Julian Blackman I liked getting him as a safety, but other than that, we talk about this. It's like free agents. We say, oh, other than that, they didn't really do anything. It's like, well, there's all these other teams. There's 31 other teams trying to get these guys. I like it overall. It's interesting because they don't really get any of the top guys.
Yeah.
But it's pretty solid. I'm gonna give them a B plus.
I like Caden Ellis.
Yeah, I thought that was a good deal, and I think, like I said, all those guys I mentioned, I thought were great signings. That's why I give it a B plus. But they don't have a lot of money to work with either. You got to take that into account. You got to say, hey, for me, it's like how much money did they spend and how did they spend it? And a lot of these teams, it's like they just blew their like you were kind of talking about the Jets earlier. It's like, to me, they just blew their money and it didn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
But I think that the Saints did a good job of spending their money in a smart way that's going to prepare them for the years to come because they're not expected to make the playoffs next year.
Yeah. What'd you give them?
A B plus.
B plus. Yeah. All right, Buccaneers. I think another kind of just. I feel like they didn't lose anyone crazy. I mean, they lost Jamel Dean. I think that was the biggest guy they lost this offseason.
Mike Evans.
Oh shit, yeah, Mike Evans. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Also Rashad White as well.
I guess. Signed Kenneth Gainwell. I like that. Kate Otten. Re-signed him. He's solid. Alex Anzalone. I'd give it like a C plus. Again, just kind of not many moves were made. And the good guys that they should have retained, they didn't.
Yeah.
Like not retaining either Jamel Dean or Mike Evans. I think those are two pretty big. I mean, I guess Mike
we
Evans.
saw how
you know,
good they were without Mike Evans. When he doesn't play, and I mean, you got to think they came off with a hot start. And Igbuka looked great. Chris Godwin looked good when he came back from injury. Bucky looked great when he came back.
Yeah.
And they don't really need to pay him. I think that it's more of a culture shock that he's not there instead of like a logistical
impact.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what grade are you giving them?
C+.
C+. Yeah, I like the Kenneth Gainwell signing a lot, and I think that Alex Anzalone is going to be a good player for them. But moving on to the Cardinals. Okay, I actually really like what the Cardinals did.
I was looking at
Getting
this.
Isaac Seumalo was great. He was kind of one of those guys I wanted the Eagles to take, maybe play if Lane Johnson's hurt and we got to move some people around. I liked getting Kendrick Bourne, getting a wide receiver 3 because Michael Wilson just had a breakout. You have Marvin Harrison. Now you get Kendrick Bourne, who's a solid 3. Tyler Algier, I love. He can do his role so well. He's going to be able to go back there and be the RB2 behind James Conner. Gardner Minshew was fine. I think that their plan is like, we're going to suck. We know that.
Yeah.
And like they're not going to win, and that's okay. And that's why they're starting Jacoby Brissett. And then Jonah Williams, I thought that was good. But Matt Pryor, that's fine. I think that they did some good stuff overall. I can't give it higher than a B.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to give it lower than a C. So I'm literally just going to go straight C here. I do like the guys they got, but it's, they couldn't do that much. They couldn't do that much in the first place, and I think that actually I'm gonna give it a C+ because I think that they couldn't do that much, and what they did do with it was pretty solid. I would have liked them to bring in Calais Campbell back. I thought he was, let's get him back, and might as well bring a veteran, that veteran presence back.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also like to have seen them, go get a quarterback, go trade for Anthony Richardson, go get somebody that's gonna, you can take a chance on.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the Rams for you?
I like their offseason. I like the Cam Curl re-sign extension. They didn't do a whole lot. The Jalen Watson, I think they addressed their positional needs. They addressed corner.
Yeah.
Their corner room. Again, I think we were talking the last time I was on here. I don't think I can name a starting corner on the Rams. Not off the top of my head. Re-sign Higbee. The Trent McDuffie trade, I don't like as much as a lot of people.
Wow. Okay.
I like them getting Trent McDuffie. Don't get me wrong. I like getting Trent McDuffie.
Obviously.
I think they gave up a king's ransom just to pay a guy $30 million a year. Like, I think because of the contract implications, they should have been able to give up less. And this trade kind of feels like the first offer they made. Like they threw an offer over to the Chiefs thinking they were going to negotiate, and the Chiefs were like, "Fuck yeah, we'll take this." Like, yeah, we'll take your number one.
I don't know. Trent McDuffie is a top 10 corner in the league.
He is very good.
It's pick 29. I mean, it's really not that great. And the Rams have, they have another first-round pick. They have the Falcons' first-round pick. They don't even need this other one.
Yeah, but I'd love to have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, but I'd love to have Trent McDuffie more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also think
for them, this is an A+ for me. They got 2 of the best corner. Not like Jalen Watson is a great corner.
Yeah,
and I think that getting Trent McDuffie is huge. They still have a top 15 pick. You re-sign your guys that you were a game away from the Super Bowl. You were pretty much a play away from the Super Bowl, and you improve the worst position on your football team by double.
Yeah, and I agree they address their positional needs. I just think trading trading away as many picks as they did to give a contract as big as they did, especially in a draft that is very corner heavy. Like there are probably between 5 and 10 corners that could go in the first round in this draft. I
What?
feel like. Yeah. I mean, when we were
5
drafting the other day, there were a bunch of guys that were.
No, there
definitely-
was not. There was
Yes, there
two
was.
guys. There was two guys. I don't even think Gerard McCoy's going to go in there.
I think he will.
No, no, he hasn't played in a year. There's no way he goes in the first round. And I think the only corner is the other guy from Tennessee. I can't think of his name right now.
Colton Hood.
Yeah, I think Colton Hood's the only corner that goes in the first round. I just
I'm giving them a B plus.
Okay.
I like the moves. I just think they gave up a lot for Trent McDuffie. That's just my opinion on that.
who are the other?
Let's see. We got Mansour Delaney, Jermod McCoy, Avion Terrell, Colton Hood,
I think it's those four. That's it. I think those are.
Brandon Cease,
I think those are the four guys.
Johnson.
I think those are the four guys that go in the first round.
Yeah, but
And-
GMs will draft a guy in the first if they're early second if they like him enough.
Yeah, if they like him enough, or they might trade back. What I'm saying is, the Rams clearly were like, "Hey, we don't want a young corner. We don't want to draft a young corner at 14 or 29 or whatever this is. Yeah, 29." And they were like, "Let's just go get a top 10 guy in the league already and get his teammate who's also really amazing." Like they
I
literally
love
just,
the Jalen Watson
Yeah.
signing. I love that signing.
like they gave up a mystery box. They gave up a few mystery boxes for a top 10 player in the league. Not in the league, at his position in the league. I think there's no going wrong with that. And I think for the Chiefs it makes sense. They're not in this we're going back to the Super Bowl next year mode. They're in this, hey, like we really have to smash the draft. Let's get an extra pick. And they're really going to have to do something amazing to get back to the Super Bowl next year, because their line isn't that great. They go out and get Kenneth Walker because their running backs weren't that great. They still need a wide receiver, so they're probably going to take one at 9, and then they have another pick later in this draft.
Yeah, in my opinion, they just gave up a lot. They gave up a lot to pay a lot, and
All about saving money.
it's all about saving money.
So what do you give? You get a B plus for them?
Yeah, I give them a B plus.
Okay, for the 49ers, I liked bringing Dre Greenlaw back. They did that today. I like the Mike Evans deal, but other than
How
that,
did they do that? I have not seen that yet.
they did that earlier today. 1 year, $7.5 million deal.
Like that.
I didn't really understand the Eddie Pinheiro deal at all. 4 year, $17 million contract.
Yeah, I
a
was.
little confused.
Was that like $4.5 million a year?
But they're like 13-4, 12-4 last year, and you get an amazing receiver. You're losing Juwan Jennings, but you're replacing him with Mike Evans. Like, okay, yeah, I'll sign me up. You're losing Kendrick Bourne as well, which is kind of sad, but it's fine. The Shanahan offense has never needed some extreme amazing wide receiver to be successful, and I think they're a team that already is good enough, and they almost with injuries. If they avoid those injuries, they're going to be amazing. So I really like what they did here. I'm going to give them an A minus.
I think the Osa Odigizua. Odigizua. Oops. I think the Osa Odigizua trade is one of the more underrated moves this offseason.
Yeah, I like that as
I
well.
think getting him for a third
Yeah,
is like
I mean,
really
the Cowboys
good.
just didn't need him. Like he's been so good, and
Yeah, I
but
mean,
they
they
just don't
have
need him with
Quinnen
Quinnen Williams
Williams.
and who's the other guy? Kenny Clark.
Yeah, they don't need him, and he's on a pretty solid contract.
Kyler Murray just signed with the Vikings, so
Let's fucking go.
we're changing the D to a
Like
B.
an F probably.
Wait, hold on. Let me see how much the money is. It doesn't say, but it's probably pretty cheap.
That's so good. I can't fucking wait to play against Kyler Murray twice a year. Oh my god.
Or JJ McCarthy, who knows? But yeah,
Yeah, either one I'm happy with. Yeah, I really like the Osa trade for a third round pick for a guy who's putting up like really solid numbers. Like, he's not a sack machine, but he's a D tackle, and he's putting up tackles as he should be, and I really like that. I think that's one of the more underrated moves.
All right, well, let's go ahead and finish it with the Seahawks.
The
We'll get out of here.
Super Bowl winners. I'd give this like a C plus. I feel like they lost a lot
Yeah,
of guys.
yeah. I'm surprised you're going C.
What do you think it should be lower?
I think it should be lower. I mean, they didn't have enough money. They had actually a lot of money. They really didn't use it.
Well, how much cap do they have?
They had a lot of cap space. I think
I don't
like,
know. Hold on, let me see how much cap space they had.
How much cap space do they have left? That's.
Oh shit! They still have like over 40 mil left.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
And
that.
they
These guys
lost-
getting a
They
D.
lost Tariq Woolen. They lost Kobe Bryant. They lost
Boy Mafe.
Yeah, they just did, I mean, like
Hell no, never
they,
mind.
I thought they were gonna lose a few guys. They really didn't even fucking sign
I
anybody.
thought they had way less cap than that. I thought they were going in with like 10 mil or
No,
something.
that was the thing. Is like it was a really cheap roster for a Super Bowl to win.
Holy
They
shit.
brought back Rashid Shaheed, which I liked. Josh Jobe, obviously.
Yeah. Yep.
Josh Jones being back is good. Rodney Thomas was fine, but I just think that they lost some of these guys that they could have brought back.
Now that I know how much cap space they had, yeah, this is like a D. I did not think they had that much. And the fact that they definitely could have signed Reek or Kobe Bryant or
Probably both those guys.
Boy Mafe, like any combination, any two combination of those guys, yeah, I like the Rashid Shaheed deal. I feel like that's a solid price tag for a pretty solid receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can. I think he'll develop well.
But he's not just a receiver for him either. I mean,
He's their kick returner.
He is a phenomenal kick returner.
Yeah. But yeah, I did not know they had much cap space, but D for the Seahawks. I don't know, those feel like moves that will cause them to not go back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was quite surprised that they did not make that many moves.
Yeah.
But that's it. Well, we'll see how free agency keeps going. Hopefully, there's a lot more moves today. Keep it interesting, but yeah, I think my main winner from free agency is going to be the Rams. I think, like I said, they were a play away. They doubled down and completely, fill the position they need, and they're essentially still right where they are. They didn't lose that many guys, and I really, really liked what they did. What about you? Who would be your overall free agency winner?
I think for me it's between the Raiders and the Panthers.
Interesting.
I think
Yeah.
I think the Raiders building up the defense as well as the offensive line, getting the best center prospect or center free agent there's been in years. And getting like Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker in that, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, Kwity Paye, Malcolm Kuntz, and then I'll say getting Max Crosby back.
Yeah.
Like that defense, I legitimately think that the Raiders are going to be good next year.
Yeah, I think they're one of those teams that's like, I think last year people thought they were going to be one of these like sneaky playoff teams.
And then Geno is
Legitimately this year they're going to be a sneaky playoff team. It
if-
depends on Mendoza,
if Mendoza can play well.
and it depends on the line. I mean, Linderbaum is there, but that's one of five
That's-
guys.
I mean, you got really the only two guys on that line that I trust are Linderbaum and Powers Johnson.
Yeah.
The other guys, like I wouldn't be shocked if they went, like tackle,
Oh, I mean,
like with their first round pick or with a bunch of their picks.
wait,
Like,
with their first round pick, the Raiders would go tackle with their first round pick.
what?
They're the 101. They're going to take Mendoza.
Oh, the 101. Sorry, yeah, their second round pick.
They're going to take Mendoza. The Raiders are selecting Mendoza and Francis Maui Noah.
Oh, I didn't think about that. How funny would that be if it was like Francis Maui Noah at
They're like, oh wait, we forgot Mendoza is on the team already. That'd be that's funny.
I think they just beat out the Panthers for me as the winner.
Yeah, I don't see the Panthers as a winner necessarily in this, just because I think they could have done a little bit more, but we'll see. We'll see how the rest of free agency goes, and we'll see how the next season starts out. But the next thing we're going to be doing probably is I'm going to do my top 10 or top 5 quarterbacks episode in the draft, and then we'll probably have another mock draft episode at some point. But thank you all for listening. Make sure you follow and like and subscribe and go to the TikTok and all that fun stuff. If you somehow made it an hour and 10 minutes into this, I'm going to kiss you on this hot mouth.
It's been a long day in the office.
Long day in the office. All right. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time. This podcast is produced by Student Media. Student Media is a student organization at the University of Evansville. Student Media produces the Crescent magazine, published online and in print 3 times a semester. Student Media produces several podcasts and utilizes design, photography, video, and sound for its experimental and academic learning in journalistic endeavors and engaging storytelling. Student Media elevates the voice of the student body and connects the campus and community through important information and points of view.